Hey there guys, what's going on? Gale here. Welcome back to the YouTube channel once again for another Persona 5X video. And today we are back with some more build guides, our second build guide of the week. And it is of course none other than An Takamaki or Panther that we're going to be looking at in this video. Now, An Takamaki or Panther is one of the 3 units you can pick up from the beginner's gacha banner alongside Morgana and Ryuji. And so as a result, we're going to be focusing on those 3 characters over the next day or so, basically. So the next 3 videos you'll see on the channel will be build guides for all 3 units, so you can make a decision accordingly on who you want to pick up. Now of course, one thing I will mention is that I've uploaded a reroll guide video already. You guys can go and check it out. I uploaded it earlier today. The link will be at the end of this video. That'll hopefully help you guys make a better decision on whether or not you want to pick up An or Morgana or Ryuji. Now, of course, if you guys want to enjoy this video as well, remember to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. We'll be making a lot of Persona 5X content in the near future. And let me know in the comment section down below, are you guys going to be picking Panther for your beginner's banner guaranteed 5-star unit? Now, Panther is a fantastic option and will be an excellent option even for those who are planning on skipping Joker, because An is a fire element character who has the same role as Joker in that she is a sweeper unit, so that means she's able to use AoE attacks primarily, and as a result she's a fantastic DPS option. Now, one thing to note is that if you aren't planning on going for Joker, An will be a great option as a primary DPS, your primary sole DPS for the time being. But on the other side of the coin as well, even if you do go for Joker, An is still not a bad pickup, because remember, at the end of the game, as you get deeper and deeper into the game, you're going to be going into the end game content. You're going to be going into Velvet Trials, Sea of, the Sea of Trials, the Astrolabe Trials, and so on and so forth. You're going to want to use multiple teams and multiple units, and so having An as a second team option and Joker as your first team option is fantastic. So keep that in mind when you're obviously picking up or choosing your characters, of course, from the beginner's gacha banner. Remember, Morgana and Ryuji build guides will be coming out soon as well, so just keep that in mind when you decide to pick up An. Now, one thing I will say, by the way, as well, is that this video is focused primarily on the build guides and so on and so forth. If you want me to make a video talking about who would be the best option as well when the game releases, let me know in the comment section down below. I'll be more than willing to make that video. But of course, like I said, my reroll guide kind of goes into that detail a little bit as well, so be sure to check it out. Alright, without further ado, let's get into An and let's see what she's capable of doing. So just like yesterday's video, we're going to focus on her skills at level 10 first and foremost. We're going to take a look at her awareness. We're going to take a look at the best revelation and universe cards for her best weapon, and then we're going to look at some team options. I think that's the best way we can go about things, and I think it's the the easiest way to understand how An will work as well. So let's start off with her skill 1. We're going to start off with the skills, and we're going to start off with skill 1, Hot Blossom. It deals 94.8% attack as fire damage to all foes and increases her attack by 20% for 2 turns. When An is in concentration, she's also able to decrease the attack for all foes based on 8% of your own attack and gain the corresponding attack for 2 turns. So her S1 primarily just boosts her attack up heavily, and that too for 2 turns, which is really solid. Her second skill, Charming Fire, deals 134.2% attack as fire damage to one foe, a singular foe, with a 75% base chance to inflict burn. When An is in concentration, if the foe is below 50% HP, it deals 30% more damage. That tells me that her second skill, if it's able to use burn, and I'm gonna see what the other skills do in just a second, but if her abilities are able to inflict burn, I do wonder if she's gonna be able to take advantage of technical in any way, shape, or form, or if she'll work really well with characters that will support her in boosting up her technical damage. That'll be very interesting to see, because technicals are always when the enemy is statused. You're able to basically do extra damage when the enemy is being hit by a corresponding move that can take advantage of that ailment, basically. So I do wonder if there's going to be some technical shenanigans going there. Skill 3, Flame Erosion. deals 96.3% attack as fire damage to all foes with a 30% chance to inflict burn. Literally, like I said, I knew that there would be some technical shenanigans going on here. It seems like when you are in concentration, increases your next skill damage by 30%. Very straightforward, very straightforward, and kind of similar to Joker in some ways, in that, of course, basically depending on the fury stacks and all that sort of stuff for Joker, she's able to get his boosts up, right? His damage boost goes up. Same thing here, basically. Her highlight combat skill is a 195.2% attack fire damage to all foes, and it also increases her fire damage by 78.1% for 1 turn. Pretty solid. 1 turn only, but still pretty solid. Now, let's take a look at her passives. Enthusiasm and Comfort. Increases damage dealt by 30% when persona skills, or highlights deal fire technical damage and trigger backdraft. We're gonna have to take a look at what backdraft does. It doesn't specify here, but basically, like I mentioned earlier on, it seems like there's gonna be some shenanigans going on with technicals. Comfort, when you leave concentration, restores 45.0% attack as HP to the ally with the lowest HP. Oh wow, so she's kind of able to help heal up an ally as well when you leave concentration, which is going to be pretty cool to see how that can help as well. Can you run kind of like a sustainless setup in a way with her, because that might be something to consider as well. You could go for like maybe her, a guardian unit like Shinkano, and maybe obviously a supporter unit, a debuffer or a buffer basically, and you can go from there. I think that will be something that's quite interesting to work with. That'll be something that's quite interesting to work with. So that's her skills. Very interesting overall. Of course, very basic. Again, this is the start of the game, so it's going to be very basic, but I mean, it's still very solid, I would say, in terms of what it's capable of doing, I feel. Now, let's take a look at her awareness, and this is where things get very interesting, because of course, Pridwin has actually recommended that if you can get her to A1 with the beginner's gotcha banner, you should do that. I personally don't think that's as necessary, and we're going to take a look at what her A1 does in just a second, but that's just my opinion. So these are her awarenesses. They're up on screen right now. Let's start off with A0. Counts when foes take fire damage. Enter concentration when on reaches 4 stacks. Okay, so counts when foes take fire damage. So every time a foe takes fire damage, you can enter concentration. It increases attack by 30%, 40%, 50% at level 1, 50, 70 for 1 turn. On cannot enter concentration next turn. Each action on can get at most 4 stacks. Kind of a difficult thing to understand. I think we're gonna have to wait for the actual release of the game, because of course, like they've, the site that I'm using, Pridwin, they have it so that, basically, everything's been translated from Chinese, so there's going to be some mistranslations here and there, but basically what that tells me is that you basically enter concentration after you hit 4 enemies 4 times basically with her abilities, and then you can get a attack boost basically from that. Her A1 hot posture increases all allies by attack by 17% for 1 turn when you are in concentration. It's not a bad A1, but I don't think it's that game breaking in my opinion personally. A2, Flame Erosion and combat skills get a boost to their level, skill level. A3, Fiery Miracle. When concentration ends, you deal 2 hits of 66% attack as fire damage to 2 random foes. That's actually not bad, honestly. If you can build her up her attack, it'll be pretty solid. She seems to scale off massively off her attack, it seems like, so that's going to be something to keep in mind. Shining Moment, Hot Blossom, and Charming Friar at A4 get 3 levels of skill levels, basically. A5, Pure Focus, boosts up the highlight by getting you an attack boost of 100%, and then Perfect Finale at A6 gives you a 60% chance to gain an additional stack of concentration when attacking foes, and then when you are in concentration, you can increase fire damage by 11% per stack up to 110%. So just a lot of damage boost, but very similar to Joker, very similar to Joker. There's very little crit rate and crit damage, so we're gonna have to wait and see on if there's any buffs that'll happen down the line or stuff like that, but whether her weapon will give any critical rate or crit damage, because otherwise it's gonna be the same thing as Joker, where you're gonna have to rely on your substats to be excellent at the start of the game. They're gonna have to be really good. You're gonna have to get very lucky and very promising luck, to be honest, in terms of your rolls. It's gonna be the case. It's gonna have to be the case. Now, let's move on to the Revelation cards and Universe cards, again, up on your screen right now. Hopefully, this can help you guys in denoting and understanding which card it is. So, for the revelation cards, we'll start off with the revelation cards. You want to go for the Strife set. The 2 set effect of Strife basically gives you a 10% fire damage boost, and then the 4 set effect gives you a 15% attack boost, and then if the enemy is also weak to fire, you get an additional 15% attack boost. Again, this is perfect. This is literally perfect for it is meant for her based on everything, right? You know, fire damage, then on top of that the attack boost as well. It is literally for her. And then you want to also go for the Acceptance Universe card, because it'll trigger the Strife Revelation card, where each enemy on the field will increase your attack by 8% up to 40%. So depending on the amount of enemies on the field, you will get an attack boost. Again, perfectly in line with, you know, An's whole MO, basically. Literally everything there relies on being for An. It's for An and An only. Now, we move on to the stat side of things. Of course, it's nothing, you know, your sets will be nothing without the right stats. Let's be real, right? So let's take a look at the best stats. So of course, for the Moon card, you want to go for damage percent. For the Star card, you want to go for crit rate. And then for the Planet/Sky card, you want to go for attack. Very straightforward. It's the exact same as Joker we had yesterday. And then in terms of substats, it's again crit rate, crit damage, penetration. That's what you want to ideally go for. That is literally what you want to go for. Now, in terms of our skill rotation, we're going to go into skill rotation for a quick bit, and then we'll take a look at the weapon side of things. For the skill rotation, you want to go for, of course, a cycle of skill 1, skill 1, and then skill 3. You want to use your skill 1 once or twice at least, and then go for your skill 3, basically. That's the idea. You want to try and build up that concentration in order to basically go for some shenanigans with the skill 3, basically, where you're able to inflict burn and gain massive damage. Not only that, you want to also get the attack buff, you want to get also the debuff on the enemy, stuff like that going, basically. You want to get that sort of stuff going. So skill 1 to skill 3 is your primary skill rotation you're going to be focusing on. Now, when we talk about weapons, you've got obviously the 4-star option and the 5-star option. Your 4-star option is Masquerade Ribbon. It increases your attack by 24%, and when attacking a burning foe, it'll also further increase the attack by 45%. Rose Thorn, the 5-star weapon, her signature 5-star weapon, will increase fire damage by 24.2%, and when La Vie en Rose is active, it'll inflict burn on one random foe, which will obviously help you massively with An's kit in itself. But also with the weapon as well, you can increase fire damage by 25.5% for each burning foe for a maximum of 76% fire damage boost. Again, very, very good and very much going hand in hand with An's kit, which, I mean, unsurprisingly considering it is her signature weapon. Now, let's take a look at some team options. So we're gonna go away from the gameplay to my face, and we're gonna take a look at Pridwin once again, and we're gonna take a look at the character listing once again. So once again, we're gonna ignore every CN unit, because there's no point in us focusing on the CN side of things. Literally zero point in that sense. Now, what do we want to do here? This is going to be very interesting options, because you've got a couple of things you can do here, right? You can do a couple of options here. So first and foremost, I think you can, like I said earlier on, you could probably go sustainless in a way, purely because of the fact that, well, you are not really needing the healer because of An having that ability to heal the lowest HP ally. So you may want to go for a sort of double setup, kind of, in a way is what I'm trying to say here. Because you could go for, of course, you know, the Lufel plus this option. You could go for Lufel plus a buffer or debuffer potentially, or you could go for Leo Kamiyama, of course, one who has the strategist option, able to increase the skill damage and attack, allows you to get a ally boost as well, attack boosting your ally, which helps massively. And then on the other side, you want to also probably go for somebody who's capable of debuffing the enemy, somebody who's got the ability to burn your opponent, and Kurotani is probably your best option. You're probably going to want to go for Panther, Kurotani, and then your third unit can be either, well, it could be either one of two options. You could go for, you know, obviously Lufel, sustain-wise, basically go in that direction, or Morgana, go in that direction, or you can go for a buffer basically in the form of Leo Kamiyama. Would I say that that would be the right thing to do? Maybe early on you should be okay to go down this direction, and especially because Leo Kamiyama is able to give a shield as well. I'm just seeing that right now. That's also a very good thing that they can do. I was just focusing more so on the attack boost that Leo Kamiyama was doing, but he's able to provide a shield as well, would work extremely well. But I think, honestly, for me personally, what I would personally do is definitely Kurotani would come into play just to help with An. If you're running An, you want to go with Kurotani because he's able to inflict that 100% chance to inflict burn as well, and also, you know, be able to deal fire technicals as well very regularly, as you can see right here. I think it'll make the most sense there. Or you could go for potentially, you know, a sustained buffer in Leo Kamiyama, and also a navigator in the form of Miho Sahara or Kaio Tomiyama. I'm gonna ignore, to be honest, the navigators in these videos, to be honest, purely because there's only 2 navigators that we have. Once we start getting more and more navigators, it's gonna make a lot more sense for us to make more and more content on them. Right now, it's kind of like not worth it in that sense. We don't really need to focus too much on that front. So yeah, that's one thing to keep in mind. So yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see, but right now what I would personally recommend, if you're going to use Panther, is I would focus on Kurotani, and then I would go for either Kamiyama or potentially go for Lufel. Just depends on what you've got. Just depends on what you've got. Morgana is also not a bad option, but if you've got Morgana, I'd assume you'd be probably using him with Joker most likely. That's my guess, at least. My guess, at least. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below about Panther. So far, what do you guys think? Are you guys planning on going for her? Are you guys planning on not going for her? Let me know in the comment section down below. Like I said, my reroll guide video will give you guys basically all the information you need on making the decision regarding whether or not to choose Panther in the 50-50 banner, for the beginner's gacha banner, that is to say. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy, everybody. Bye bye.